Jared, I want to start with you because you feel that racial profiling is a good thing, which is a very controversial position to take nowadays.
It's justified for the same reason that sex profiling and age profiling is justified. Everyone knows that young people commit more crimes than old people, and no one complains about the fact that there are 9 men in jail for every woman. No one complains that that's some sort of sexual prejudice on the part of the police. Men end up in jail because they commit more crimes. And the unfortunate fact is that blacks on a per capita basis commit more crimes than whites or Hispanics or Asians, and it's for that reason that the police are justified in paying more attention to them.
Mr. Terrell, you're a lawyer. You've been active in civil rights issues in Arkansas as well as Los Angeles. Can you talk about Mr. Taylor's position here?
Yeah, his position is insulting to every African American. Well, I'll tell you why. It's, we have something in our criminal justice system, unfortunately, called selective prosecution. They go after the black guy on the street, but they don't go after the cocaine-dealing white folks up in the Hollywood Hills. So when you have selective prosecution, and when the motivation to stop someone solely is because of race, that insults and also damages anyone's right to walk down the street. Just because I'm a black man, I am going to be stopped automatically. It's insulting for anyone to sit there and say that it's okay to stop someone solely on race when we know we have a dual system of a criminal justice system. We have an unequal criminal justice system and a system targeted towards poor minorities.
Well, my question is to tell, where do these statistics come from that your organization came up with?
Oh, they're from the Department of Justice. They're the best statistics you can get. And I'm not saying that people should be stopped strictly on the basis of race.
Yes, you did. You said you endorsed racial profiling.
Look, I said no one is talking about stopping people just because they're young or just because they're men. It all fits into a particular profile.
Well, what if you're black?
Black is part of the profile. Remember,
he just said it.
Well, of course it's part of the profile. Blacks, in fact, are as much more likely to commit violent crimes than whites.
Blacks are more likely to be convicted, to be arrested, to be singled out. That's why we have an unfair criminal justice system. If we didn't have an unfair criminal justice system, I wouldn't be complaining. But we do.
Mr. Terrell, I want to bring Mr. Wright into the conversation.
Well, could I finish my idea there?
Go right ahead. I'm going to bring you right into the conversation.
The fact is, victimization studies, not just arrest studies, not just arrest records, show that blacks are as much more likely to commit criminal violence than whites, as men are more likely than women to do the same thing.
Mr. Wright, you're from New Jersey. Jersey has a history of racial profiling. I'm from New Jersey. You're a young black man in America. How do you feel about Mr. Taylor's position?
Yeah, I agree with Counselor. I think his comments are absurd. The generalizations, as you said, he's the head of his study. Obviously, he's trying to justify that police officers have a right to racial profile based on the greater crime rate supposedly that African Americans commit, which isn't the case at all. It's solely...
How do you know that?
Because as a police officer and a person who's taken oath, they don't have the luxury to... they don't have the luxury to be ignorant like the masses. They have to be objective, whether or not they want to be.
Mr. Wright, do young black men perpetuate negative stereotypes by wearing baggy clothes, bandanas, platinum chains, that kind of stuff?
No, not by doing that, no.
Why not?
They're just being themselves. People like him are doing stuff based on preconceived notions. There's no details. He doesn't discuss what type of crimes. I mean, I'm familiar. I read the summary.
You want to talk about the different types of crimes?
Yeah,
they're all there. Sure. In the case of murder and robbery, blacks commit these at approximately 8 times the white rate. If you're talking about assault or rape, it's 3 to 4 times the white rate. And I might point out that whites are not the least crime-prone group. Asians commit every single index crime at a lower rate than whites, Hispanics, or blacks. And the police eventually discover this, and they are less likely to pay attention to Asians than they are to blacks or whites, because it's a matter of playing the odds. You go where the fish are likely to bite. That's where you put it.
No, you go to where you can target people easier. And you know as well as I do, white folks commit more crime. You're talking about a percentages, and you're not taking into consideration the unfair criminal justice system. Do we have a racist criminal justice system in this country, sir?
I think the criminal justice... I think it is...
Well, Mr. Terrell, can you respond to the question he's asking?
I think any racism component is extremely small, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
How do you explain the Rodney King verdict, the Amadou Diallo verdict?
Hold on. Let me explain why. There is every year, the U.S. Department of Justice does a survey called the National Crime Victimization Survey. They survey 100,000 Americans. That's a huge sample. They asked them what violent crimes they were victims of, what was the race, age, sex of the perpetrator, and as it turns out, this huge sample will tell you that half the muggers in America are black. Half the muggers arrested by the police and convicted are also black, which suggests to me that the police are arresting the people who are committing the muggings. They're not going out and especially picking on some group.
It's unfortunate because it's people like him that perpetuate these negative...
I know, this is insulting. I'm out there in the trenches right now, the civil rights attorney, for the last 13 years, and hear this man sit there and be an apologist is insulting to me. I hate this show. It's ridiculous for him to sit there and say that.
You're welcome to leave if you like.
I am going to leave because you are insulting and you have hurt black people by these comments like this. You should come out to Los Angeles. There's discrimination. There's Rodney King. There's riots. There's unfair treatment because a person is black, and you sit there in your chair defending it. You're a embarrassment.
Why?